When I first bought my small modular rig, I had so many dreams about patching all the time. Just thinking about signal flow, thinking about the possibilities that I could have or that I missed.
Patching is fun, and figuring out meaningful patches is a nice occupation. It's also really fun for me to combine the modules into a rig and to screw them in and out and to do this kind of work with my hands.
The computer is the main clock, so that's feeding the clock signal into my modular synthesizer. I'm also using CV tools to send information like LFOs. I think with the modular synth, this is something that you can always get better at. And I remember the first sounds that I was making on my instrument, and I can compare them to today, and there's a huge difference. I think it'll just keep continuing on like that. So I try not to be too hard on myself, or else I'll just not get better, or I would probably not perform live with the modular synth.
It feels more like a specific machine that I built for a specific purpose during a specific live set. The details are not fixed because it's just the patch that I either remember or I write it down. I go back to how I started to play live when I could not save like any presets on these old synthesizers. With every twist of a knob, the sound is different, and it forces me to improvise more.
I love a clean, full, rounded bass frequency sound, like warm, soulful, trippy, psychedelic techno that's a little bit gritty with, for example, with gritty percussive elements. I am a big fan of dissonance. I do like when some notes are a little bit out of tune for short periods of time, and I guess that's because I also am a big fan of jazz music. But in the studio, when I'm producing techno, of course I do try to utilize everything that I've learned over the years, but I would say that it's quite difficult and almost unnecessary.
Most of the times I don't use a lot of harmonic content. I never use arpeggiators, for example, and I know that melodic use of arpeggiators makes everything a bit more likable, but I never do that. With this setup, now I'm finally able to create harmonic, interesting things that are neither common or normal chord progressions.
I really want my kicks to sound like the same kicks that I've spent a lot of time recording and processing and layering for the releases and the records that I've put out. I've had a hard time being able to reproduce that live. I don't want my kicks to sound like they're coming from a drum machine. I want it to sound like something that's coming from one of my records. So that's why I'm using Ableton Live and my laptop in my live techno set.
Usually when I have access to a new tool, that usually leads to new music as well. I always want to understand a machine or a tool before I start to play around with it. I probably have like a lot of respect for everything I touch.